Welcome folks, this is Tony for aminutetomidnight.com with a short video update on some important things which have happened in the last few days which I've discovered. I'm sure some of you already know about them, but I want to put this short video together to show you just how far we are now advancing into the beast system and how life will not ever go back to the way it was before. They are marching us rapidly into a system which I think many of us knew would one day arrive, but I don't think many of us knew would happen as quickly as it's happening at the moment. First off, take a look at this from the World Economic Forum. World Economic Forum, it's a Davos crowd led by Klaus Schwab, and here we can see an app that they're promoting called Traveling with Confidence. Well, if that doesn't scream beast system to you, then I don't know what would. And quite frankly, I see them pushing into this great reset as well, economic reset, with this whole travel changes with COVID vaccines and tracking and tracing. And I just want to play you now a bit of another clip I did a few weeks ago. I'm just going to replay it regarding the World Economic Forum and the Great Reset. This article titled, "Now is the Time for a Great Reset." Professor Klaus Schwab says we can emerge from this crisis a better world if we act quickly and jointly. The changes we've already seen in response to COVID-19 prove that a reset of our economic and social foundations is possible. This is our best chance to instigate stakeholder capitalism, and here's how it can be achieved. The COVID-19 lockdowns may be gradually easing, but anxiety about the world's social and economic prospects is only intensifying. There is a good reason to worry. A sharp economic downturn has already begun, and we could be facing the worst depression since the 1930s. But while this outcome is likely, it's not unavoidable. And he goes through various reasons here to pursue a great reset. The most important and the most urgent is COVID-19. Having already led to hundreds of thousands of deaths, he says, the pandemic represents one of the worst public health crises in recent history. I'll skip down the article, and further towards the bottom he says, during the COVID-19 crisis, companies, universities and others have joined forces to develop diagnostics, therapeutics and possible vaccines, establish testing centres, create mechanisms for tracing infections and deliver telemedicine. Imagine what could be possible if similar concerted efforts were made in every sector. The COVID-19 crisis is affecting every facet of people's lives in every corner of the world, but tragedy need not be its only legacy. On the contrary, the pandemic represents a rare but narrow window of opportunity to reflect, reimagine and reset our world to create a healthier, more equitable and more prosperous future. Okay, now I'm just going to go back to the Strategic Intelligence website, which you actually have to be logged in to see this. I'm just going to read a little bit on this Great Reset here. It says coronavirus-related lockdowns provided a glimpse of what is possible in terms of limiting pollution, and the pandemic's human toll illustrated what can happen when health care systems and society safety nets are neglected. Now it's up to the leaders in the private and public sectors to seize the moment and help create a more equitable and sustainable society. It's very interesting how they have turned this into opportunities for reducing pollution and creating sustainable development. Now, Klaus Schwab has been a consultant in the sustainable development areas of the United Nations over the past, and there are a whole lot of other articles related to this whole Great Reset within the Strategic Alliance's website. And look at this article from June 4th on the World Economic Forum. The Great Reset, this week's World versus Virus podcast. The Great Reset, launched by World Economic Forum and His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales, seeking better form of capitalism as world recovers from pandemic. Welcomed by the United Nations, International Monetary Fund and companies Microsoft, MasterCard and BP. The COVID-19 crisis has shown us that our old systems are not fit anymore for the 21st century, said World Economic Forum Executive Chairman Klaus Schwab. In short, we need a great reset. This week's World versus Virus is entirely devoted to the launch of the Great Reset, a project to bring the world's best minds together to seek a better, fairer, greener, healthier planet as we rebuild from the pandemic. Now, one of the components of this Great Reset and everything is the vaccine, the push for a vaccine. Now, take a listen to this from Donald Trump saying that the military will be used in a powerful way to deliver the vaccines to the American populace. And then have a listen to how far advanced and how quickly Fauci and Trump are talking about this rolling out.
One issue that has come up is once you do have a vaccine, how do you properly distribute it? How do you get it out quickly to millions?
Well, when we have the vaccine, we have the military all lined up, and the military is going to be doing it in a very powerful manner. These are people that don't usually do vaccines. They do soldiers, and they do lots of other things that, frankly, are more difficult. But we have our general, and logistically, he's all set. Tony, do you want to say something about that?
That is correct. As the vaccine rolls out, we'll be getting them distributed. And as you probably have heard, we are going to make sure that we do it in an equitable way, and it's representative of the populations who need it the most. And we have the standard way that we determine that with the ACIP working with the CDC, but Dr. Collins and Dr. Redfield have put together with the National Academy of Medicine a group that will fortify that decision-making process so that we're making sure that we're very fair and equitable in getting the vaccine distributed properly.
And I think I could have Francis say that tremendous progress has been made on the vaccine beyond anything that we would have thought if you go back 6 months. What do you think?
It is just, frankly, quite astounding, Mr. President. I've been at NIH for 27 years and director for 11, and I've seen some amazing things happen. But the way in which the whole research community, public and private, philanthropies, everybody has come together to work on this, not worrying about who gets the credit, trying to figure out how to strip away anything that's going to slow things down. And I think all of us, motivated by the fact that this is the most serious problem we've encountered in our professional lifetimes, even a day matters. And so that's why a lot of people look kind of sleepy because we're all working 24/7, trying to make sure that nothing possibly slows this process down. Yeah, the vaccines. This week is a big week, as you just heard, having 2 phase 3 trials started in the very same day, this past Monday. And based upon very impressive phase 1 data showing that people who got that in the phase 1 trials developed these high levels of neutralizing antibodies that should be very predictive of protection, but you don't know until you actually run the trial in those 30,000 people. By the way, you heard earlier about coronavirus.gov, which is the place you can go to find out how you can donate plasma. There's another thing you can do if you go to that website, which is to sign up to say you're interested in a vaccine trial. And we need people to volunteer for that as well, because we're going to, with these 4 or 5 trials coming along very quickly, each of which needs 30,000 volunteers, that's a lot of people, and we need them.
And Francis, we're working very well with other countries.
We are indeed, and science has always been international, and it certainly is right now. And we work with our colleagues in Europe and the UK and Asia in a way that I think represents the best of the best. And again, everybody recognizes we're all in this together across the whole planet.
Now, there are all kinds of angles I could come at this from, but in wanting to keep this video short, I'm going to just look at it from this angle here. An RT.com article. Bubble indemnity. Big pharma firms will not be held accountable for side effects of COVID vaccine. A senior executive for pharmaceutical giant AstraZeneca has confirmed that his company cannot face legal action for any potential side effects caused by its COVID vaccine. Those affected will have no legal recourse. I'll go down the article a bit. AstraZeneca is one of 25 companies worldwide already testing their COVID vaccines on humans in preparation for injecting hundreds of millions of people. These are flush times for Britain's largest pharmaceutical company, worth something in the order of £70 million. They have just reported bumper profits of £12.6 billion in the last 6 months alone. Now I want to go down and look at another piece of this article here. The UK government has been on a vaccine spending spree, buying 250 million doses from various big pharma outfits. America, meanwhile, is way ahead of the curve. They have a special legal framework in which no pharmaceutical companies face lawsuits for side effects of vaccines in case of public health emergencies. This legislation, known as the PrEP Act, was the product of a massive lobbying effort from the US pharmaceutical industry, which was introduced despite vigorous opposition from consumer groups. Unless the vaccine maker intentionally murders or injures you, willful misconduct, you cannot sue them. With all of this going on and with pushing us into a digital age, digital identification, digital currency, artificial intelligence, all of these things that are going on, a big heads up it should be to all of us that we are certainly in crazy times, and these are the end times, and we are being sucked into the end time machine. Make sure, folks, that you have your lives right with the Lord, because there is no answer in governments that is going to be satisfactory. In fact, they are only going to push us further into a diabolical system. If you're able to donate to A Minute to Midnight, that would be great too, because we do run this 100% by donations. Thank you. This is Tony saying goodbye, and hopefully we'll see you with another video in a few days' time.